A Japanese man with colorful night dress wakes up in an empty room with no way of escape. He approaches one of the walls and finds something peculiar sticking out of it, shaped like a male member. After touching it, he presses the tip, which causes hundreds of baby angels to come out of the floor and walls. While going back, they leave their thing behind, sticking out of the wall. This is what they call learning. When he smells the finger that he used to touch weirdly shaped button, the man screams and starts crying. After some time, he decides to start pressing the various buttons, and every time he does, a random object falls into the room, like a toothbrush or a big vase. He presses the same button again and again. That gives him a big pile of chopsticks. When he presses another button by mistake, a small cart comes and hits him on the legs. The next time he presses button, it transforms into a butt, which farts on his face. After some time, he accumulates lots of random objects in room, and when he throws the ball, it gifts him sushi. He gets happy but realizes that he's missing sauce. He asks for it, but no answer, so he repeatedly presses button but fails to get sauce. He becomes tired and starts to eat the sushi, which tastes delicious, and once he's finished, he presses the button for more, and then bottle of sauce finally shows up. But he angrily throws it, and after pressing another button, gets a pair of old-school 3D glasses. After putting them on, he caught a baby angel pointing at one of his member. The man gets happy because he thinks he found the answer. But in reality, after pressing that button, all he gets is a countdown and a giant butt with giant fart on his face. After reading the 5 parts of the book he was given before, he starts to press button for 6th, but instead gets 7th. He tries other buttons, which give him 8 and 9 but no 6. After pressing the last one, the button opens the wall that hides a door behind it. The man celebrates, but in his excitement, he loses track of button he had pressed. He tries one and surprisingly sees an African tribesman running wall to wall. The next one makes him wet. And finally he manages to open the hidden door, only to see it close on his face. After trying for some time, he realizes that the door stays open until member tip is down, so he starts trying different things. He goes running, hitting and bunch of other stuff, but none of this work. He plans to get on the cart and push it, but after few tries, he accepts he simply can't control it. He needs to keep the button tip down. He puts the huge vase on it, but the button won't give up. The man starts filling the vase to make it heavier. He tries water button, but it only falls on his head and nowhere. He fills up the vase with sushi, and it becomes heavy, so he can't even pick it up. He can't put his hand inside. That leaves him no other choice but to use chopsticks to remove sushi. Some hours later, once he's removed enough sushi, he takes it closer to the buttons, but again he couldn't remember the exact button and puts down the vase and starts to finding, but suddenly the African tribesman comes out by pressing wrong button and bumps into the vase. The man gets mad and yells non-stop, finds the right button and begins covering it with sushi. The member pops up again among the rice. Then the man tries with tape, a steel plate, but nothing works. After taking painkillers to deal the pain caused by door every time it hits him on his back, he wants to wash his teeth, so he presses the button to get water. But that gets him a rope falling from the ceiling. By seeing the rope, an idea comes to his mind. He opens the door, and then uses the rope to swing across the room and make it before the door closes. However, when he tries to open the door behind the fake wall, he discovers it's locked. He returns to room in time before it closes, but the door hit him on his way out. He kicks the wall, activating one of the buttons, revealing the key in the middle of the room. Now he has to find a way to keep both the key in the room and the door open. He finds the lost button by observing where his foot would have landed when he kicked the wall, only to get a dog barking at him. He marks the button with sushi, makes the rope appear and swings to reach the different buttons. As he falls to the floor, with a plunger he gets an idea on how to solve the issue. He uses the plunger to touch the wall and push himself farther. After the combination of swinging and pushing with the plunger allows him to press the button, grab the key, press the door button, and reach the door before it closes. Without wasting time, he inserts the key in the lock, only to see another lock on top that requires a code to open it. The man gets back in room and in frustration throws the plunger, activating the button that releases the African tribesman. He watches him and realizes that there are 3 numbers painted on his forehead, which may be the code he needs. The time behind the door is limited, so he does everything swinging, jumping, and all for 3 times to put the code on the lock. He opens the door, which was quite jammed, by pulling hard, and the wall behind him closes, leaving him trapped. The man sits on the floor and starts crying, thinking all the fun he had in the room, but now he realizes he has lost it all. After some time, he feels a breeze, and as he touches it, he finds a crack, meaning the fake wall. Within no time he starts running out of there, and passing a pitch-black area floating in the dark. It looks like he is running forever, and when he finally makes it to the end in a room, the colors of his pajama have faded, and his hairs are longer. This room was also empty, and the door locks up as he enters, but instead of baby angels, there are adult ones. They call this phase as practice. At the same time in Mexico, little Antonio's family is worried because the father, a wrestler known as Escargot Man, is behaving different than usual. His wife thinks because his next opponent is younger than him he is doing that, but the grandfather explains how experience can beat youth. Escargot Man was taken to wrestling ring by his sister so he can start getting ready and praying to the Virgin. Antonio is being bullied by his classmates for betting on Escargot Man, calling him a loser. Sister Karen takes her van and picks up Antonio and their grandfather to see Escargot Man's fight. Before the show begins, Antonio and his grandfather find last seats for themselves. First team enters the ring with Super Demon and Tequila Joe in the name of Northern Tough Ones, then Escargot Man and his partner Silver Eagle with team name Kiss Me A Lot. Silver Eagle did a brilliant beginning, but he's overpowered when Northern Tough Ones fight him together instead of one. They keep asking Escargot Man to join the fight, but he refuses until Silver Eagle pulls a trick to make Super Demon and Tequila Joe hit each other. Escargot Man is quickly overpowered as well. Opponent is about to hit him with a chair. The man in the room presses a button and causes Escargot Man's neck to stretch, knocking out both opponents. Man keeps pressing the same button in the room, causing Escargot Man to knock out Silver Eagle, the referee and the bell. By pressing random buttons, the singer of a metal band throws fire from his mouth. A Russian magician fail his trick of assistants disappear. A man in China barks at his own dogs. The man gives up, but he sees light coming from above where there is no ceiling. He sees the angels flying. This time, instead of pressing a button, he uses them to climb. Every time he grabs something amazing on Earth happens. More higher he goes, the more complex things happen, like a toaster and landing on the moon. He makes it to the top with long hair and beard. Now he can fly just like the angels. By using experience gained from the training, he embraces his role of God and begins choosing humanity's biggest hits on purpose instead of randomly pushing buttons. He's surrounded by feathers instead of walls, and he enters a hole that takes him to last room. There is a huge button, and by pressing that he will get into future.